Hi. Hola.
Hi, hier ist Mr. Döse.
This is Michael Bradley.
Hey, I'm Memphis.
Hey.
Hola. Hello.
I'm here with soccer.com.
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 And I'm talking with my friends soccer.com.
See you soon.
Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the TechCraft 2.0 Nike Tiempo Legend 6. Now inside the box they do include a string bag to go along with the shoes themselves, black string bag with the silver Nike TechCraft logo there in the middle, and of course along with that here are the shoes. Now unlike the previous TechCraft packs from Nike, which the 6 wasn't around, it was a Legend 5 at the time, they were pretty much just different colorways of the standard Legend 5. They didn't actually change anything with the shoe. TechCraft 2.0 pack though, with the Legend 6, they've actually upgraded the leather. They've given it the Allegria or Algeria leather. I've seen it listed both ways, which is essentially a variation of kangaroo leather that's a little bit thinner and arguably a little bit more premium than what you're gonna find on a regular pair of Legend 6s. This is very reminiscent, aside from the different finish on the surface, to that of the limited edition Pirlo Legend 6s that came out not too long ago. What's also interesting is that these retail for $10 less than the regular colorways of the Legend 6. I'm not sure if that's a mistake, but that's what they're selling for, and if you're just on the market for a pair of Legend 6s, this may be a pretty interesting proposal. So in today's video, we're gonna go over all of the details on what makes this TechCraft variation of the Legend 6 different from the standard models. We're gonna talk tech specs, we're gonna go over the weight of the shoe, as well as take a look at how these things fit and feel on feet. So if you are interested in learning more, stick around, watch the entire video. If you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, there'll be a little pop-up on screen, or you can click the first link down below. That'll take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these guys up below their standard $200 retail price. So again, if you're interested in a pair, a little pop-up on screen, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's talk tech specs. Now, like I mentioned at the start of the video, unlike previous TechCraft Legend 5s, the TechCraft 2.0 Legend 6 actually is different from a regular Legend 6. Obviously, the finish to the surface of the leather is that kind of embossed, almost like synthetic suede texturing that you'll find across the entire TechCraft 2.0 pack, but the leather itself is a slightly thinner variation of kangaroo leather than what you're going to find on a standard Legend 6. It's very much like the limited edition Pirlo ones that came out not too long ago. How does this actually alter the overall feel and experience of wearing the shoes? It's not that big of a difference. Once they're broken in, be it this shoe or a regular Legend 6, they're both soft, they're both really comfortable on your foot. This is just ever so slightly thinner. So I would argue that the quality, like I said, is a little bit better on the TechCraft 2.0 versus a regular pair. But again, you're not necessarily missing out if you don't go for this specific version of the Legend 6. I just think the quality is a little bit better, and I also think it's a little bit interesting that the retail is $10 less than the regular ones, which again, just kind of an unusual thing. The other thing that's a little bit different, aside from just the leather type itself, is actually the amount of leather you get on the shoe. Normally from the curvature of the Nike swoosh back, in the heel area, it is synthetic. Same thing for this piece right here. On this shoe though, it's the same leather material all the way around. So that's a little bit interesting. Not really something that's gonna have an impact on the feel and just experience of wearing the shoe. It's more of a visual thing than anything, but it is worth mentioning in regards to differences in comparison to the regular Legend 6. You're also going to find that the shoe does feature ACC all conditions control. You can see it's embossed right there. Same thing for the natural leather stamp, which you'll find on pretty much any natural leather shoe now. But again, not that much different from a regular Legend 6, just a little bit softer and a little bit thinner overall. Laces run through the middle. It does maintain the one-piece construction where you have this synthetic kind of memory foam piece running through the middle. It's attached to the leather upper itself, or at least fused to the leather upper, using this dual lace hole system. Basically for the bottom 4 lace positions, and then for the top 2, it's fully independent, kind of like a standard shoe. I really like this particular design in that it does allow for less overlapping materials. You don't really have any with this design. So you get a pretty consistent touch in terms of just the feel and thickness of the upper across the entire foot, which is really, really nice. And of course, they didn't leave out the internal support cage, which you can definitely see here through the texturing and the surface of the leather. It's these little lines right here. It's a chevron pattern right there, and then a crisscross pattern through the midfoot. Essentially what that is a thin cage that is underneath the leather itself, reinforcing everything. So that's partially the reason why there isn't very much stitching on this shoe, unlike most other leather shoes. So this really does its part in terms of reinforcing that leather upper. So when you make those quick changes of direction and stuff like that, the upper doesn't have that much rollover to it. It holds your foot in place quite nicely and just makes for a much more responsive sensation than you might expect based on how the shoe feels on your foot. You put these on, and because of the one-piece design, it does have a little bit more of a snug feel in comparison to most other kind of traditionally styled leather shoes, but you don't feel any stiffness, you don't feel firmness from the support cage, but it really does its part in terms of, like I said, kind of reinforcing the leather upper itself and giving you a much more responsive feel than you might expect. Standard low cut, that's kind of typical of the Legend 6. Internal plastic heel counter. The heel liner is identical to that of a regular Legend. It's a synthetic leather material, a little bit of kind of perforations through the back. Not really noticeable when you're wearing them though. Insole, fully removable. It features the synthetic suede lining on top. Your TechCraft logo there at the heel. And then it's the standard yellow foam with the pour-on foam inserts in the heel as well as the forefoot toe box area. So pretty nice insole, good amount of underfoot cushioning, above average insole I would say. Let's leave it at that. Moving to the bottom of the shoe, it's a standard TPU plastic construction, relatively thin, good flexibility to it. No major complaints there, but nothing really fancy going on either. And then as far as the stud pattern is concerned, this is the firm ground variation for the Tiempo line, which is the only stud pattern available in the TechCraft 2.0 pack. It features conical studs in the forefoot with bladed studs running through the middle, and then bladed studs, as you can see, under the heel, 4 of them to be exact. And the overall performance is quite good. It's a lot more aggressive than I think you might expect just based on how the stud pattern looks. You get a fair amount of bite when pushing off in any direction on natural grass, and because of the rounded shape of the studs, you get that freedom to twist and pivot, and decent stability from the bladed studs under the heel. So overall, it does get the job done. Nothing too fancy, but one of my personal favorite stud patterns to wear, and actually the Legend 6 in general is my personal favorite shoe at the moment. So overall, really, really good option if you're looking for a quality, kind of modern variation of a classic leather shoe. That's really where I think the Legend 6 kind of falls as a very strong option, if that's what you're looking for, of course. In terms of weight, I thought we'd compare a regular Legend 6 to the TechCraft 2.0 model to see if there is any weight difference between the two, given the differences in the upper. So keep in mind that these are both in brand new condition and both the exact same size, 9.5 US. So this is a very fair comparison. Gonna weigh them both for you today in real time. We'll start off with the regular Legend, throw it on the scale, and you can see that they weigh in at 8.9 ounces, the equivalent of 252 grams. Remember those numbers. Change the scale back to ounces, pull these off, and we'll throw on the TechCraft 2.0 model, and you can see that they weigh in at 8.95 ounces, the equivalent of 254 grams. So you're talking about pretty much no weight difference whatsoever. Technically, these weigh a touch more, not noticeable in hand, not noticeable on feet, and really I attribute the weight difference between these two shoes not so much to the material themselves, but more so to the manufacturing process. Every shoe is not going to weigh exactly the same. There's always going to be a little bit of extra glue or a little bit less glue. There's things that can vary, especially when you're dealing with natural materials, but like I said, pretty much the exact same weight whether you go for the regular Legend 6 or the TechCraft 2.0 model, so weight should not be a deciding factor. As far as aesthetics and the colorway is concerned, these are really good looking shoes, especially in the TechCraft 2.0 variation. Just like the rest of the pack, it is a combination of black and metallic silver, the Tiempo being mostly black. These are borderline blackout, if I'm completely honest. You get the silver Tiempo branding on the heel, as well as the outline for the Nike swoosh on both the lateral and medial side, some silver Nike branding on the tongue, and then of course the branding on the base of the sole plate, one having the Nike swoosh, the other one saying Tiempo. That's silver as well, but everything else is black. So pretty straightforward. I really like kind of an all black shoe, but that's just my personal opinion. You do get the added kind of, I guess, texture and just the difference in the look with this texturing here running throughout the entire upper. I actually think it looks pretty cool, but I know some people aren't quite as crazy about it. But nonetheless, it's a nice looking shoe. There's not a whole lot to dislike about it, at least if you're a fan of kind of darker, more low profile, simple colorways. So overall, I quite like how these look, but let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Do you love them? Do you hate them? Why or why not? And with that being said, let's move on to the on-feet portion of the video so we can get a better idea as to how these shoes fit, feel, and of course, what the sizing is like. All right, so here is a look at the TechCraft 2.0 Legend 6s on feet. On my left foot, I have the stock black laces that come with the shoes, and on my right foot, I have a pair of black with white dots premium SR4U replacement laces. If you're interested in a pair of replacement laces for yourself, the website to go to is www.sr4ulaces.com. There'll be a little pop-up on screen as well as a link down below in the description that'll take you directly to the website. So if you're interested in a pair, be sure to go ahead and check that out. Now, in terms of how these things fit and feel on feet, they're very comfortable shoes out of the box. The leather, being that this is a little bit different from the standard Legend 6, like I said, does feel a little bit thinner on foot and a little bit softer as well, but that's brand new. Once they're broken in, the feel is very, very similar to that of a regular Legend. Again, just a touch on the ball is going to be ever so slightly thinner just because of the thinner leather on this TechCraft model. Other than that, they feel pretty much just like a regular Legend. It does have a tighter fit than most other leather shoes. That's kind of the modern aspect of the Legend 6, and that comes from mainly the one-piece design and just the general shape of the shoe. The one-piece aspect does make the shoe, like I said, fit tighter out of the box. They'll still stretch. The support cage internally does not restrict the shoe from stretching, but at the same time, the shoe never feels really sloppy on your foot. Given that you get the right size, it does have an above average responsiveness level in comparison to other leather shoes, especially one that doesn't feel like the upper is being reinforced by any kind of stiffener element. So you get the natural sensation of leather in terms of the comfort level and the touch on the ball, but at the same time, you get the kind of tightness and I guess less bulky feel of a modern shoe, which is something that I really like the combination of on the Legend 6. It does that better than pretty much anything else out there at the moment, in my opinion. As far as the width of the shoe is concerned, it does have a more snug fit than the average leather shoe, but at the same time, I think they will be suitable for most people because of the one-piece design. If you have really, really wide feet, maybe not the best option, but like I said, for most people, you shouldn't have too many issues here in regards to width. And as far as sizing is concerned, they run about a half size small. So instead of wearing my usual size 9 US, I bumped it up to a 9.5, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair of these for yourself, I would recommend going a half size up in order to achieve the best possible fit. All right, guys, that is it for my review of the TechCraft 2.0 Nike Tiempo Legend 6. If you guys are interested in a pair of these for yourself, you can either click the little eye in the corner of the screen or the very first link down below in the description. That'll take you to the review page on my website where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick these guys up below their normal $200 retail price. If you have any questions at all regarding this shoe, leave them down below in the comments and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all of my social media information linked in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.